And it's a good day to the Gelding as we return to Randwick this week, Gelding, because the provincial Melbourne meeting doesn't really interest us.
Good afternoon, Professor. Good afternoon, listeners. Yeah, fully understand. You know my feeling on these Saturday provincial meetings. Um, look, it's a good meeting, but look, very hard to pick some winners there. Big fields, very open races. So why not go somewhere like Randwick where there's 4 Group 1s tomorrow, Professor?
Well, and 7 group races in total, Gelding. So it's a terrific day's racing. Now, before we kick off the program, we should say, as we're now going to say every week, to our viewers, if you like the show and you think that we're doing a good job, there's a little like button down there. You should hit that. And also, if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, you should subscribe, because then you'll get an email telling you when we're actually on air and what we're doing.
Well, Professor, hopefully you should get a lot of likes for the return last week.
What
70,
what did we get last week, Gelding?
well, we got 3 out of the 4, Professor, which is a 75% win rate and a 75% place rate. And I think we gladly said that we didn't particularly like Damien Lade's ride on Julie Star. And in fact, he came out and reported to the stewards that he was in the wrong part of the track down by the fence, but was forced down there by other horses. But yeah, I would have thought that Damien Lade's a better jockey than that, because I noticed when he won in the Derby, he was right out in the middle of the track where he should have been on Juliet Star. But that's racing, Professor. I've almost built a bridge over that ride.
Well, as I said to you in a text, Gelding, what could have been?
Oh, well, exactly, Professor. If he had ridden it like he rode it in the Newmarket when it won by a comfortable 3 lengths, I would have been a lot happier, Professor. But look, when we do our tips, we make the presumption that they're going to be ridden properly, and hopefully don't they have luck in running rather than get blocked or things like that. But all we can say is that's racing, Professor.
That is racing, Gelding. Well, as we said, we're going to Randwick tomorrow, where all the group races are. It's a 10-race card, Gelding. Now, one thing I agree with the judge on when he's talking is we want certainty in what we're doing. The first race, Gelding, 11:45. Talk about take you by surprise. Lucky I'm not picking in race 1 tomorrow, Gelding.
You're not, Professor?
No, I'm not. That's a sneak preview.
I would have thought that it was a certainty. That was almost the odds-on favourite. You'd have something in race 1, because it was my turn to put the bets on.
Well, 11:45, Gelding. Why? It's 10 races. Last week it starts at 12:25. How could it possibly be? What is it? 40 minutes earlier.
Well, daylight saving, Professor, do you think?
Oh, let's put it down to that, Gelding. That's as good as any other excuse we're going to get.
Look, if they had the normal 8-race program, we could start at 12:20 and finish at 4:30.
Oh, no, Gelding, it's not a twilight meeting. You see, yes, the last race is at 5:10.
Yes,
I guess
last week would have been 6:10.
Yes, that's right, Gelding. But I suppose if the last race was at 5:45 tomorrow, then they'd be out there with torches trying to shine their way home.
I would have thought the lights would have been on from race 9 and 10, Professor.
All right, Gelding, the track's a soft 5. The rail's out 3 metres. What are your 2 best bets for tomorrow's racing?
Professor, as we said off air, look, I'm looking at my punting tomorrow being certainly parlay betting. So, look, mine are short, but I think they both should win, hopefully.
Would it pass the Sydney Colts test?
What, of being over 60 and still call yourself a colt?
No, odds on, Gelding.
Odds on.
Odds on, look on.
Look, they'll both start in the tomato sauce, the red. But as we say, Professor, sometimes with this parlay betting, you're better off backing a winner than having a piece of paper with a bit of odds. But if that's the way you look at things, if you want odds, don't follow my tips. Look, I like tomorrow, race 5, horse 8, Autumn Glow, trained by Waller, ridden by McDonald. It's round about the $1.50 mark, Professor. This horse, 4 races for 4 wins, in the peak of form, meets some Group 1 winners, meets some good horses. But look, in an 8-horse field, in a $1 million race, a Group 2 race, I think the Autumn Glow will be too good for them. Look, the horse has done nothing wrong. 100% win rate, 100% place rate, the best jockey in Australia on board, and probably equally as good as trainer as anyone going around. So race 5, number 8, Autumn Glow. Then into a horse that we've had a lot of luck with, Professor. Race 6, number 2, Treasure the Moment in the Oaks. It's had 10 starts for 8 wins, Professor. Excuse me. The 2 times it's missed out, it's finished second. Look, we've been on this horse 4 or 5 times, Professor, for returns all the time. So let's not jump off it. The danger's the top weight, like elusive, again, Waller McDonald. But Treasure the Moment has done nothing wrong. And, of course, we'll be following up on that in race 6, number 2. So, Professor, mine short, but hopefully sweet. And I would encourage people to have them with parlays, probably with some of your tips, which what we will be doing. And you like, Professor?
Yeah, Gelding, going a little bit earlier than you. First one's in race 2, the South Pacific Classic, a listed race for 3-year-olds over 1,400 metres. I like in this race, Gelding, horse number 5, no strings attached. What a great name for a horse. No strings attached.
But, Professor, you're a lawyer. There's always strings.
I'll take care of that one in the next race, Gelding.
Okay.
Coming out of barrier 8, Gelding, it's only had the 5 starts, but a very successful 3 wins and a placing. So a 60% win rate, 80% place rate. It's up in class. It's won its last 3 races, Gelding, so it's going in with good form. The last win was at Pakenham in a $300,000 race, if you don't mind, thanks very much. It won by 3/4 of a length. It's won over the distance and won that race in a very smart time, Gelding. The threats in this race I see are number 4, Sergeant Major, number 9, More Jude, and number 11, Meridiana. But you can get $4.80 and $1.95, Gelding, in this race, so I think that's excellent each way odds.
Beautiful, Professor. And notice that was down to race at the Bendigo meeting.
Yes.
In race A.
Yes, it was, Gelding, but like us, we've decided to stick with Randwick.
We've done well. And Blake Shin on board, the leading jockey in Victoria, going up to ride it. So has to be right in contention, Professor. And nice odds. Nice each way odds.
Very juicy odds there, Gelding. Blake Shin in terrific form at the moment, 15% win rate, which is pretty good for a top jockey.
Very, very good. And I do notice that Blake Shin on the Victorian jockey list is 10 clear of Craig Williams and almost 20 clear of Mark Zara. So
the informed jockey.
Riding in great touch.
And trained by Trent Basutin and Natalie Young, and they're in terrific form, Gelding, 13% for their career. Over the last 50, though, Gelding, 20% if you don't mind.
Been on fire of late, Professor.
Certainly have. Second selection, Gelding's in race 4, the Percy Sykes Stakes. It's a Group 2 race for 2-year-old fillies over 1,200 metres. I like in this one, Gelding, and this is where I'm clearing up the legal one. Number one, within the law. You've got to stay within the law, Gelding, especially when there's no strings attached.
Exactly, Professor. Within the law. But I thought lawyers can say anything they want to in court.
Well, no,
Don't
they
they
can't.
just bring up other scenarios with no evidence?
They can't say anything they like, Gelding. You know that.
Well, I've heard some very, interesting stories.
All right,
I
Gelding.
will throw you another probability.
Yes.
Or possibility.
Possibility, that's right. There's always possibilities and probabilities, Gelding. All right, within the law has had 5 starts, similar to no strings attached, and also a similar record. 3 wins, 1 second, 60% win rate, 80% place rate. It's, as I said, it's in a weaker class. This is the horse that went through the railing in the Golden Slipper, Gelding, so we're going to forgive it for that one. The horse has won at the track. The race prior to the Golden Slipper, it won the Sweet Embrace Stakes, which is a Group 2 race. So it's won at the track. It's won over the same distance, and it's also won at the group level, the Group 2 level. So I like all that. The threat in this race, Gelding, is horse number 2, which is a Blue Army horse.
The Blue Army, Professor, and James McDonald on board. We have probably slightly different opinions in this race, but within the law has been fantastic, Professor. But I think I might be throwing in Tempted in my little parlay.
Well, dare I say, Gelding, as I said in the warm-up, I was tempted to take it.
Yeah. Very good, Professor. I like it. But aren't I in a very good position? Because if I back Tempted, we also have our bet on within the law.
That's right.
So hopefully a win either way, but we'll be barracking for within the law, Professor.
All right, being ridden by Jason Collette, who's in very good form at the moment, and also a trainer we were talking about in the warm-up, Gelding, Bjorn Baker.
Bjorn Baker, the winner of the Doncaster last week. Bjorn, absolutely on fire, Professor, and is second in the Sydney trainers list behind Chris Waller. And look, he's 30-odd winners behind Chris Waller, but doesn't have the depth of Chris Waller's stable. But, he's a good 22 in front of Gay Waterhouse and Boss, who were sitting in 3rd position. So Bjorn Baker probably having the best season that he's had in a long, long time.
Well, Gelding, if you're winning at Doncaster, I would have thought there'll be plenty more horses getting along to be trained by him.
I would have thought so, Professor.
And great each way odds in this one, Gelding. You can currently get $5 and $1.90 for within the law. So my 2 for tomorrow's racing: race 2, horse number 5, no strings attached; race 4, horse 1, within the law. And now let's turn to the Professor's parlay. Unfortunately, Gelding, Jolie Star didn't salute. We did.
In my defence, Professor, we had 3 out of the 4 winners. And unfortunately, the best bet we put down to, what's a nice way of saying it, an indifferent ride?
Well, we might have expected better. How about that, Gelding?
Yeah, and very surprised the stewards let him off with just, the other jockeys forced me down on the fence where I shouldn't have been.
Oh, well. But we got the meatloaf. We got the meatloaf Professor's parlay, 2 out of 3.
2 out of 3.
Which ain't bad, Gelding, but it doesn't pay. Yeah, the Brisbane Lions beat Richmond and GWS beat the West Coast Eagles. So we're 6 from 15, Gelding, still at 40%. So that's still not a bad rating.
Still an excellent rating, Professor. As I keep telling you, anything over the 30%, a lot of services that are tipping, they work on a 30% win ratio, Professor, just on their horses. So if you're doing 40% and that we're having 3 tips, we're doing very well.
All right, Gelding, the parlay for tomorrow: Randwick race 5, horse 8, Autumn Glow, for all the reasons you mentioned before, and the Picket Fence of Wins certainly helps us select that as being the bet of the day. And let's parlay that into the NRL: Brisbane Broncos to beat the Sydney Roosters. The Broncos second on the ladder. They've won 4 from 5. They've got a plus 66 points differential. They've scored 164 points for, which is the best in the NRL by 20. So they can certainly score. I can't see the Roosters winning. They've got a minus 62 points differential. They've only scored 84 points in their games, which is half what the Brisbane Broncos have scored. And it's not going to be a very good match or very good season for the Sydney Roosters. They're 16th Gelding, only won 1 from 5. The line's 14.5, so the bookies don't like them as well.
Oh, yeah, that's not good, Professor.
No, we'll parlay that into Fremantle to beat Richmond. Fremantle 11th. Yep. They've won 2 from 4. Only one game between them, Gelding, but 30% in percentage.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think they'll be, after watching them play last week, I think they'll be far too good for my young Tigers.
Second worst defence in the league, Gelding, Richmond, and Freo have, they've won the last 2, so they're certainly in line. The bookies don't like Richmond, Gelding, 35.5 for a team that's only won 2 games versus a team that's only won 1 game.
Yes, but that was against Carlton, Professor.
Who haven't won a game, Gelding. They still haven't won a game.
Yep. And looking forward to playing Melbourne on Anzac Eve.
Well, you'll probably score more than Melbourne, Gelding.
Well, we'll wait and see, Professor. I think Melbourne might be on the scoreboard this week.
Well, I don't know about that, Gelding. Fingers crossed for that.
Yes.
All right, so this week's parlay, race 5, horse 8 at Randwick, Autumn Glow into the Brisbane Broncos to beat the Sydney Roosters, into the Fremantle Dockers to beat the Richmond Tigers. So we're just hoping that hoping like hope that the Professor's parlay gets up to put us back on the winners list for that, Gelding. And yes, as we said earlier, 75% win and place rate last week. We're looking to go one better than that and make it 100% for both.
Hopefully we get all these nice rides, Professor, and these horses salute comfortably.
All right, Gelding, until next Saturday, it's good luck.
And good punting.